Hi everyone, welcome to African Gardening. Today we're going to be talking about something many of you have seen, something that's probably been affecting your plants and you are not aware of what is happening. I'm sure quite a number of you, of the gardeners or people that plant trees or fruit trees or flowers inside pots, they have seen this particular symptom on the leaves, but they don't know what's causing it. So let me show you, then I'll tell you what it is. So this is the pomegranate tree, and you can see there are lots of brown patches at the tips. So these are, you look at them, these are, it starts off from older leaves. So you can see a brown tip here, see a brown tip here, you can see a brown tip here. Yeah, look at that. I mean, it's really affected the plants. So a whole lot of people that plant in containers and pots, many people in certain areas have been seeing the symptoms of leaves with brown tips. Leaves with brown tips, or we can even call them biologically necrotic patches, because necrosis means, when cells are dead. So as you can see, all the cells here, they are dead. So guess what? The reason why this is happening is simply because of the water that you've been using to water your plants. So this applies to people using irrigation water or tap water or borehole water to water their plants frequently. And what is causing this? This symptom which you're seeing, this phenomenon that you're seeing, that is dead or brown tips on the leaves, is caused by saline stress. And saline stress is as a result of salt in your water. Salt is simply sodium chloride. So there are different kinds of salts in the water. It could be carbonate salt, but the sodium salt will kill your plants if it's in excess. Lots of plants, there are many plants that are naturally tolerant to salt, but the salt tolerance in plants, it differs. Even among varieties of the same plant species, you find varying salt tolerance amongst different varieties. Like this pomegranate now, it's not very salt tolerant. I'm going to show you another pomegranate tree that is highly salt tolerant. You will not see the symptom of the brown tips or the burnt tips of the leaves. So symptoms of the burnt tips on the leaves are caused by the accumulation of the salt at the tips of the leaves during transpiration. Of course, frequent watering with saline water leaves a deposit of salt in the soil. And what happens? The roots of the plants, they're taking up this salt. So apart from your plants having brown tips or dead tips, what you will find out again is that the sodium ions in the soil, they displace potassium, they displace magnesium, they displace calcium. Potassium is a macronutrient, very important. Calcium and magnesium, these are micronutrients that are very important for your plant growth and yield. Potassium in particular directly affects your yield. So when your plant is deficient in potassium, deficient in calcium, deficient in magnesium, you're not only going to have poor yield, your plant will be unhealthy. It will be easy for diseases to affect the plant, and ultimately you lose the plant. I'm going to show you other plants. For example, in mangoes, saline stress, which is caused by high salinity, it actually not only causes potassium deficiency or magnesium or calcium, it causes zinc deficiency and copper. I've lost about 2 mango trees. I'm going to show you. So, on the internet, there's been, a lot of people coming up asking questions that, how come the tips of my leaves are turning brown or the tips of my leaves are dead? So whenever you see this symptom of the leaves of your plants that they are dead or necrotic in nature, which means, it's all dry, just like this. You can see this one's here. It is simply as a result of the salt in the soil. So let me show you other plants, then we're going to talk about what you need to do to reduce the effect of saline stress. So this is a tangerine. You can see this. Look at that. So these again, that's as a result of saline stress. The tangerine, only few leaves exhibited, but let's come and see this lemon. So this lemon, yes, this is a lemon tree. You can see there's a whole lot, lots and lots of the leaves. They have brown tips. They have brown tips. Look at it. And like I said, we see the newer leaves, they don't have that. The older leaves have that. The reason being that it's the older leaves that, they're closer to the roots. So when the salt is coming and there's a lot of transpiration, they are all deposited at the tips. So you can see this. Look at this as well. You can see that as well. So it's still the same thing. So this is a lemon tree. This is a lemon tree. This is a lemon tree. If you come here again, you can look at that. So that's the same symptom. Anytime you see dead tips on your leaves, it's because you have a lot of salt in your water. And of course, you can actually measure the salinity by using an electrical conductivity meter, but they are quite expensive. So I guess the best way, if you don't want to spend money, just watch out. The moment you start seeing the symptoms, then you know that, you have a high salinity problem. You have saline stress problem. So let's go. So what we have here, this is a water apple or Java apple. You can see the fruits here. But guess what? Look at it. The newer leaves, the tips are fine, but all the leaves, the tips are burnt. Look at this. These are totally burnt. Totally burnt. The reason the plant still looks healthy is because I've already taken corrective measures to fix the problem of this high salinity in the water that I'm using to water this plant. But you can see that. Look at that in the older leaves. You can see the dead patches. You can see the dead patches. Look at it here again. You can see the dead patches. You can see the dead patches. You can see the dead patches. So I know a whole lot of people, I've been seeing people asking this question. So that's one of the reasons I'm making this video, so that it will guide you to be able to know, so this is what is actually happening and what do I need to do to reduce the effect of this. So one of the things you need to know is that for the plants that for the trees or fruit trees or flowers that are planted directly in the ground, the issue of saline stress is not very, it doesn't occur that easily. Why? Because for a lot of the trees, they're already taking water from the top layer. They are not like the potted plants that you need to water every day. So this is another pomegranate variety. This is not salt tolerant, but watch this. See the leaves. You will not see the effect. The leaves are fine. Look at the leaves. You can see the leaves, they're fine. See the older leaves? Yeah, we're not seeing that much effect of salt tolerance. See, the leaves are fine. The tips are okay. See, the tips are okay. The tips are okay here. The tips are okay here. So let's go. I'm going to show you this same tree, and you will see the effect of saline stress on the same variety. So this one is planted in the ground, so we're not seeing the symptoms of saline stress. But the one that's in the pot that we've been giving lots of water, and I can tell you, in the dry season, when there's no rain, you're going to see a whole lot of symptoms of saline stress if your water has a high salinity. So let's go and look at the other pomegranate tree, the same variety, but this one now is planted in the pot. So this is the same pomegranate variety, but guess what? This one now is planted in the pot, and we're using water from our taps. The water here has a high salinity, so you can look at it. Let's look at the leaves. So these are the older leaves. Can you see? The same symptom of saline stress. Brown tips. dead patches, dead tips on the leaves. You can see that here. You can see that here. Yeah, look at that here. You can see that here. Yeah, we can look at that. Look at that. So this is it here. You can see. You can see the brown patches. So this is an example of saline stress caused by high salinity. The same pomegranate variety. So let's look at, this is another, you can see the saline stress here now. All right, so you can see, this is another lemon tree. Look at the tips. These are all the leaves. You can see the tips. So you can see the dead patches. The same symptom caused by saline stress. So another type of lemon tree. We have another tangerine. So here you will see the effect is not all that pronounced. You can see it starts with yellowing, then it turns dead. Okay, aha, you can see this. The older leaves, you can see the older leaves, they have dead patches. They have dead patches. So you can't see the effect. You can see the effect of high salinity in the soil. So let's see. So this is a soursop tree, and you can look at the soursop tree. This is soursop. Look at that. Aha! Look at the soursop tree. You can see the dead patches. See the dead patches. See the dead patches. You can see the dead patches here. See dead patches, and all the leaves only. So, like I said, the reason why you have the dead patches, those are salt deposit in the cells of the plants. I mean, while the soil, while the salt, the sodium, is moving along the cell of the plant, and it's being transpired, because during transpiration, the plants are actually are giving out water, and of course, it is through the leaves. So you have an accumulation of salts by the tips of the leaves, which causes necrosis. It causes, I mean, they all die. And of course, if you do not fix that, it kills the plant. Let's look at the mango. So on this mango, it's very severe. It's more severe. So this is my mango. You can look at that. You can look at that. In fact, I've lost 3 mango trees, and this even depends on the rootstock on which the mango was grafted on. See the effect. That's the effect of high salt salinity. So in mangoes, high salt salinity not only causes potassium, calcium, and magnesium deficiency, it equally causes zinc deficiency. And you know, zinc deficiency, mangoes, zinc is very, very important to zinc. Without zinc, your mango will die. Any mango that suffers from a very high zinc deficiency will die. Also, copper deficiency as well. Copper and zinc, those are micronutrients. So you can see all this necrosis. So one of the things is that even the dead patches, a lot of people think it's a fungal infection. So you start treating the trees and say, no, it's a fungal infection. But guess what? Nothing happens. And your tree will probably die because you are not addressing the problem. So the symptoms of saline stress or high salt salinity or salt toxicity, they are, you know, similar to certain fungal infection that affects the leaves. So let's go and look at another mango. So this is my mango tree, half dead, but thank God I started the treatment quickly. So you can see, I mean, many of the branches are dead. Why? The rootstock is not salt tolerant at all. So what happened? All the salts were going to the leaves and killing the plants. It caused a very, very severe zinc deficiency and copper deficiency. You know, so I had to solve this problem by applying zinc and copper, and that's why, you know, it's bringing out a new leaves. But you can see, I mean, anytime you see your mangoes like this, guess what? It's a symptom of salt toxicity. It's not a fungal infection, and you have to act fast. If not, you will lose the tree. I've actually lost 2 trees. Let me show you the trees that I've lost. So this is one tree that I've lost. So this one tree I've lost. See, the mango tree is dead. So it's planted in the pot. So it's as a result of salt toxicity. It's as a result of salt toxicity. So we've seen the effect on the different varieties of pomegranate. Let me show you again. This is a different variety of pomegranate, and you can see the same thing. You can see all the leaves they have. They're browned out at the tips. So like I said, anytime you see this symptom, the first thing that should come to your mind is, oh, am I watering this thing frequently with tap water? Yes, because in most places, the top layer of the soil for the plants that are planted in the ground, there's not salt there. I mean, it's deeper. You get the salt deeper. So when you're having water from those kind of sources, that you have a borehole, it's not been treated for salt. So this is the problem that you will have. You can see this is the problem that you have. I mean, it lost all the leaves. So I even had to do leaf pruning for this. I had to remove all the leaves that have been affected by the salt, and then it's growing out fine. Let's look at this. So look at this. So this is English pear. You can see that. That's an English pear, which is a stone fruit. Look at that. So you can see the browning at the tips. So that's the effect of salt toxicity. I look at that here as well. Come and look at that. See the browning at the tips. The same classical symptom. You can see that. The same classical symptom. You can see that. And this you always find in older leaves. So let's see. So this is another variety of pomegranates. So you can look at this. This is another variety of pomegranates. Look at that. So you have necrosis. Okay, the leaves are even out. So you see the tips are burnt. Tips are burnt. The same symptom. The tips are burnt. The same symptom. This tree has even lost lots and lots of leaves. It has affected it adversely, and it affects the quality of the fruits. I mean, look at this one. Yeah, look at that. See, it affected this one severely. These trees, they are not salt tolerant at all. So let's now go and see a pomegranate variety that is salt tolerant. So this variety is salt tolerant because look at it. You can see the leaves. See the leaves here. You won't see any of the leaves with the brown tips. So this particular variety is salt tolerant. It's salt tolerant. And how do you know salt tolerant variety? Well, it's from experience, or if the person you're buying it from, they actually know about saline stress, and they are only breeding plants, or they know the plants which from experience they have a very, very high tolerance for salt. This is the same variety as well. You can come and look at it as well. Look at that. Look at that. See, the leaves are fine. Yeah, we're using the same water to water with the other plants that I've shown you. The leaves are fine, and you can't see the problem of saline stress. So this variety is very, very highly resistant to saline stress, or is highly tolerant. Is highly tolerant of salt. That's a very high tolerance for salt, which is good. So this is an apple tree, and you can see as well, it's not well pronounced, but in some of the leaves, we're seeing necrosis. Yes, we're seeing the burnt tips. We're seeing the burnt tips. So you can see that in the burnt tips. So it's the same problem of salt. I think the apple is not much. It's not showing not much of the leaves, so I can say that this apple is salt tolerant. Aha! So this is a guava tree. So these guavas, they're using the same water, but guess what? We are not seeing the effect of salt. We're not seeing the effect. Look at the leaves. These are the older leaves. They're all fine. They're all fine. So we're not seeing the effect of salt toxicity or high salinity or saline stress. So let's go now and see. Aha! So this is a star apple. So star apple, or it's called kaimito or kainito in some other countries, but this is the star apple. You can see it's the same problem. Look at the tips. Aha! Look at the tips. Tips. They're getting burnt. There are some tips that are really, really burnt here. Let me get hold of all the leaves. Yes, on the older leaves, you will see the effect. Aha! Look at it. You can see that. You can see that towards the tip. So we can say this tree has some form of high salt tolerance because most of the leaves are not really affected, but we can still see that. Okay, look at that. Aha. See? You can see it's already starting. It's already starting. But this tree is more tolerant of the salt. So it's very important. Okay, now this is another guava variety, and you can see that this one. Aha. So look at this. So this is even showing up as symptom of potassium deficiency in this guava, but it has been triggered by the high level of sodium, which is the salt, inside the soil. Because like I said earlier, what the salt does to the plant is that it displaces the potassium ions from the soil, thereby causing potassium deficiency. All right, so this is another guava variety. You can see this. So this one, it's showing the same symptom. The tips and the edges are burnt here. So like I said, so these are symptoms of potassium deficiency in guavas, but it's also a symptom of high salt salinity. That's high saline stress. So look at that. Like I said, see, these are, yeah. See, the new leaves are fine, but the older leaves, look at that. See, it's all burnt. Look at that. See the older leaves, they're all burnt. So that's as a result of saline stress. So, all right, so to solve the problem of salt toxicity, or to reduce it greatly, one of the major things you have to do is application of foliar fertilizers. Like I said, saline stress or high salt salinity or salt toxicity in the soil, it causes a deficiency in these nutrients: potassium, calcium, magnesium, and zinc. So what we need to do when the plants are deficient in this due to high salinity in the soil, due to soil toxicity, due to salt toxicity, the next thing for us to do is to find the solution. So one of the solutions briefly is application of these nutrients that are deficient through the leaves. It's called foliar application. So potassium nitrate, you need to apply 10 grams per liter of water. Magnesium sulfate, the dosage is 5 grams per liter of water. Calcium nitrate, the dosage is 5 grams per liter of water. Zinc sulfate, the dosage is 3 grams per liter of water. You can't mix them together, you apply these things separately. Apply calcium nitrate to the soil at a dosage rate of 2 grams per liter of water. At the same time you are applying calcium nitrate to the leaves. Calcium nitrate helps to displace sodium ions from the soil, thereby reducing the effect of saline stress. So when you do this, it helps, and you probably have to do this every month. Depending on if you have, if you're going to be watering every day. But of course, you can slow this down during the raining season, because once there are heavy rains, the rains, they help in flushing out the water. Also, I'll also recommend that once a week, maybe after every 7 days, you do deep watering of your potted plants so that it flushes out the soil at the bottom. Yes, the deep watering helps. It helps. So just once a week, every 7 days, do deep watering of that plant that's been planted in the pot to flush out the salt. It helps a whole lot. Also, the regular application of organic manure, either goat, cow dung, or chicken or poultry, it helps a lot. But you have to apply little quantities, I would say every 2 weeks. That helps a lot. It's small quantities every 2 weeks, because they are slow release. So basically, if you just give in maybe once every quarter, the plants are going to be deficient. But you can apply little quantities just every 14 days, every 2 weeks. So doing this, all these steps will help to reduce the effect of salt toxicity. And also, if you have the money, you can actually, instead of trying to fix the deficient nutrients, you can fix the problem with the water by investing or by buying a reverse osmosis system. But they are not cheap. They cost thousands of dollars, a whole lot of money. You don't need to do that. It's cheaper for you to buy these nutrients. For example, organic manure is in some places like in Nigeria, organic manure, you can get it for free from the farmers that are breeding either cattle, goats, or chicken. You can get it for free or for a token from them for a very, very low price. Also, the fertilizers, they are much, much cheaper than investing thousands of dollars in buying a reverse osmosis system. Apart from that, the reverse osmosis system requires electricity. So apart from your initial cost in investing in the reverse osmosis system, you are still going to buy, you're going to be paying for power as well and running the system, quite often. So that's not a good solution. With the salicylic acid, I think I will discuss, that will be discussed in the online course on how to solve the problem of saline stress in crops or fruit trees. Okay, all right.